And welcome to the Temecula Public Traffic Safety Commission. This is the first meeting that our commission is being videoed and available on YouTube, so it's kind of exciting. I'd like to call Commissioner Hagel, if everyone would please stand to lead us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
All right, and it's now my pleasure to call Randy Joel, our city. I'm blanking your title all of a sudden, Randy.
Oh, no, it's okay. The legislative director and the city clerk for the city of Temecula. Chair Sullivan, it's a pleasure to join you and the commission today to swear in your newest member, David Maddox. David, you will be receiving your official oath of office via mail, given that we're doing your swearing in virtually here. But on behalf of the city of Temecula, welcome to the city family. So if you'll go ahead and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David Maddox,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Commissioner Maddox.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard, David.
Thank you.
All right.
It's good to be here.
As I said, David, we'll have you introduce yourself, give your background during commission reports. If we could have a roll call, please.
Absolutely. Commissioner Carter,
Here.
Hagel,
Here,
Maddox,
Here.
Richardson,
Here.
and Sullivan.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Anissa, did you need to read the opening about the fact that this is being done via electronically, or?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do that first, and then if you want to read the public comment statement, that'll work.
Perfect.
Okay. As a reminder, this meeting is being conducted utilizing teleconferencing and electronic means consistent with the State of California Executive Order N-29-20 dated March 17th, 2020 regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. As such, any public comments that were accepted electronically via email or by mail will be read into the record. Details associated with viewing the meeting, ADA accommodations, and submitting public comments were available on the agenda and on the city's social media platforms. And to date, the city has received 5 public comments. And Mr. Sullivan, if you'd like to read the statement.
Yes, thank you. All right. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the Public Traffic Safety Commission on items that appear on the consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. For this meeting, public comments may be submitted and read into the record pursuant to the important notice provided at the top of this agenda. So, Anissa, if you'll read those into the record.
Absolutely. And before we go ahead and read them, I just have a quick statement to read. The views and opinions expressed in these comments are solely those of the individuals submitting the comment. For COVID-19 case statistics in Riverside County, the public is encouraged to visit www.rivcoph.org/coronavirus. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first comment from
Anissa,
Michelle D'Alessio.
Hey,
Sorry?
Lisa, if I can interrupt for just 1 second, I think you might have missed the roll
Absolutely.
call.
We did roll
No,
call.
we did
We
take
did
roll call.
Did you? Okay.
Yes. Okay. First comment from Michelle Delicio was emailed on January 25th at 11:52 a.m. and reads, "Hello, Anissa and County Board. We are tired of the shutdowns to our county and businesses and lives. We understand that there's a risk involved, but so is being sequestered in our homes. We need to get back to living and enjoying what makes us human, working, living, enjoying our lives. 1 year of lockdowns is enough. We urge you to reopen everything in our county. Thank you, Michelle Delicio, Temecula resident." Next comment was submitted by Kathy Crook, also on the 25th of January 2021 at 2:05 p.m. and reads, "I believe the current shutdowns ordered by Governor Newsom are destroying our economy, not only because of the tax dollar loss, be it income tax, sales tax, or anything else. They are destroying the livelihoods of numerous hardworking citizens in the state and nation. Small business is the big loser, as well as many chain stores who have closed down permanently. I would like to know how many positions of both part-time and full-time jobs have been lost. These are not people who want to sit at home and collect their state checks. 2-income families have lost one, if not both incomes, and are now stressed with homeschooling children that need to be in school and socially active with their peers. These kids will be a year behind in school, and some are facing such things as abuse that would have been seen if in schools. Suicide rates have skyrocketed, along with drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Churches have closed. Worship called a germ spreader. God forgive them. I volunteer at a local food bank, and we have seen the number of people come through from what used to be an average of 70 people can now go as high as 400. And now with the USDA Trump boxes, we are all scrambling to give food boxes. And all this for a virus that has a less than 1% death rate. Thanks to the media who drones on and on about hospitalizations and deaths, fear has impacted people to the point they may never want to go out and resume what would be a normal, productive life. It is up to you, our local government, to stand up for your city and start the change. Let the people go. Be bold, we will back you. Don't let fear rule your lives or ours. Thank you, Kathy Crook, Temecula resident." And the next one was submitted by Catherine Sizemore, and this one went directly to Pat on January 27, 2021 at 8:16 a.m. and reads, "Dear Temecula Public Traffic Safety Commission, we are scouts from Troop 148 and we are working on our Citizen in the Community Merit Badge. We would like to raise attention to an issue we are aware of on Paba Road between Paba Ridge Park and Calle Contento. In the area, we observed that the intersection of Paba and Mesa Verde Circle has a stop marking on the ground, but no stop sign. Is this legal? We think this is a big safety hazard because drivers won't know if to stop or not to stop. Between Paba Ridge Park and Calle Contento, there are multiple potholes, which can also be a safety hazard because the drivers will try to swerve around the potholes, which could lead to some other disasters. We have seen bikes on this road. If you are not able to fix the road, please lead us to others that can." Signed, Knights Troop 148. And our next one was submitted Wednesday, January 27th, 2021 at 1:34 p.m. and reads, "Every time I look at people with masks on, it's so depressing and maddening. It's a clear reminder of the fear-mongering and oppression that has plagued us for 10 months now. I barely go out in public or go shopping anymore. I order Instacart or online delivery. I will, however, go out of town to places that I know will support my freedom to not wear a mask. I support businesses that support our God-given freedoms. I have only found 3 businesses in Temecula that are not violating both California Civil Code 51 and the Constitution."
No one's on fire, right? That's not a fire alarm.
Not that I know of.
All right.
Sorry about that. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Let me start where I stopped. "Everyone else is breaking the actual law by discriminating and assuming that I may have a virus and treating me like pre-civil rights era, refusing me service if I don't wear a mask. Let's put emotion and fear aside for a moment and think rationally. Do you think it's okay for nearly every business in Temecula to discriminate against those who do not cover their faces? To refuse service or shame people who just want to breathe freely? Should they not be able to make store policies that go against California Civil Code 51 and our Constitution? What if a store's policy was that it was okay to beat up Black people or push Granny around in their store or kick non-mask wearers or pickpockets in their store? Would that be okay? Of course not. So where does it end? It's the slippery slope. Will you wear a mask forever? There will always be germs and diseases. Shouldn't we rather encourage people to boost immune systems, get fresh air? Fear lowers immune systems. How dare anyone be told that they can't breathe freely? It's our most basic God-given right. There are still 0 studies showing masks work at all for the virus. The real science and studies reveal that masks do more harm than good. They can also cause bacterial pneumonia. Fear is not a healthy, intelligent motive for making decisions. Our logical, rational thinking does not function properly when we are fearful. Fear of a virus, fear of man, fear of being sued, fear of not enough funds. We need to think rationally and make common sense decisions. We, the people, will no longer allow the tiny, loud leftists to represent the massive majority. We are awake. Are you? Per the frontline doctors last week, survival rate for those with COVID without any kind of treatment, ages 20 and under, 99.997%. For those ages 20 to 49 is 99.98%. For ages 50 to 69 is 99.5%. And ages 70 and over, it approaches 95. No more, we need to open up, go against the county and governor. The revenue from open businesses will far exceed what they give us. People will come from all over. Thank you, Suzanne Lane. And finally, our last comment was submitted on Thursday, January 28th, 2021 at 1:42 p.m. by Mark Lane and reads, "Hello, thanks in advance for taking the time to consider my input. As a resident of Temecula and Riverside County, I truly believe it's important that we open up for all business immediately. And here are my thoughts as to why. First of all, we have to recognize what is driving the fear of the COVID-19 virus. I'm hearing for the last 20 plus months that we must let science be the driver of our behavior. Okay then, here's what the science says. According to the CDC, as of today, there have been 25,831,067 confirmed cases of the virus in the US. In a country of over 330 million people, this comes out to less than 8% of the total population of the country. That's right, you have less than a 10% chance of getting sick from this disease. If you think that's a big number, then consider that in 2017 to 2018, there were 45 million cases of the flu reported. In fact, the average number of flu cases each year since 2010 is 5 to 20%. Again, this is according to the CDC. This is almost double the amount of reported COVID cases since the pandemic began in this country last 10 months, suggesting that the flu is more common than this disease. If we look at the number of deaths from COVID, we see that there have been 427,626 in this country since the pandemic started. This means that if you get the disease, you have 1.6 chance of dying from it. For California, the numbers are similar, albeit a bit lower. 37,118 deaths and 3,136,158 positive cases, or a 1.2% fatality rate. These again are based on CDC numbers as of January 24th. For Riverside County, 2,517 deaths and 258,352 positive cases, or a 0.97% fatality rate. These are hardly numbers that demand a lockdown. Read them, they are not. This is what the science is saying. If your point is that these numbers would have been worse without locking down, I would suggest you compare California positivity rates per 100,000 people to a state that is not locked down, in parentheses, Florida. You'll see that California's rates are substantially higher than those of Florida. Doesn't this suggest that lockdowns do not work to significantly reduce the positivity rates? This alone should have our people in public office seriously wondering if California is really following the science or perpetuating the fear. Thanks for your time. Regards, Mark Lane, Temecula. And that's the end of our public comments.
All right, thank you, Anissa, and also thank you to those that took time to write in the comments. Patrick or Ali, did you want to talk about PAVA?
Yeah, if I could, Chairman Sullivan, and I did respond to Ms. Sizemore That portion of Paba Road is outside of the incorporated city boundary. So it's in the Riverside County jurisdiction. So we did let her know that and refer her to the county transportation department to submit those concerns.
Patrick, also, most of what she talked about is a private road. It's not even county road. It's owned by a neighborhood there, and they used to have stop signs there. They just put them up arbitrarily, took them down because they found that all they were doing was stopping and never changed the paint on the road. So, and it's full of holes, you know, it's privately
Yeah,
maintained and not very well, so.
All right, thank you.
What
All
you're
right.
saying is they were stopping at stop signs?
They were stopping, well, they didn't stop at stop signs. I actually walk that once in a while, and it's not a good place to walk. I don't do too much walking there because it can be dangerous.
All right, so if we're ready, let's move on to the consent calendar. Unless someone has something they wish to edit in our action minutes, I'll accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
A quick procedural note with the minutes, because I was not a commissioner at the time.
Yeah, you
my
would
underst-
abstain
I'll abstain.
from this one because you can't verify the veracity of it.
Great,
So-
okay.
When the roll call is called, just go ahead and abstain.
Understood,
Okay.
thanks.
No problem. All right, so, and you can't move or second it because you weren't there either for this. So I'll accept the motion to approve
So moved.
I'll second.
and okay, moved by Commissioner Hagel, second by Commissioner Carter. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Hagel,
Aye.
Maddox,
Abstain?
Richardson,
Aye.
and Sullivan.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to move on to new business. And our first item is the election of a chairperson and a vice chairperson. I would like to make a recommendation. It's open to everybody, but I would like to nominate Commissioner Hagel to serve as our next chair. He had originally expressed an interest to do it this past year and had some deals to close up with his retirement. So I would nominate Commissioner Hagel. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. Do we need a roll call on that, Patrick, or just put the two together in one motion?
you can either, vote on these separately or put them together, the chair and the vice chair at the same time, up to you, either way.
All right, why don't we just do the chair to begin with? And I just want to note too, Bob, you'd become a chair on the March 25th meeting.
And
Okay.
actually, Chairman Sullivan, that was a slight error in the staff report.
Okay,
At your discretion, once you vote on the new chair and vice chair, they could take over for this meeting, or you could have them take over at the February meeting, whichever you like. That date of March was the transition date from last year. So that's
Okay,
why
nope.
that was in your staff report. But you can make that transition as soon as you take this vote, if you choose.
All right, Bob, do you have a preference?
Why don't you just finish up this meeting? I've actually, the last half hour, I've been coming down with a cold, so.
Yeah, I bet I could see you're not
apologize.
feeling well and your color's off. All right, so roll call vote for Commissioner Hagel to take over as chair.
And did we get a first and a second on that?
I'll move it.
No.
I'll second it.
All right, so moved by Commissioner Carter, second by Commissioner Richardson.
Perfect. Thank you. Roll call will be Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Hagel,
Aye.
Maddox,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
and Sullivan.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. We now have the position of vice chairperson for the 2021 calendar year. We'll open it up. Seeing no hands, I'll make a recommendation. I would recommend J.R. Richardson to be our vice chair for the coming year. J.R., you're available?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. and it's open. Anybody else wish to do another nomination? Seeing none, we'll close that. Can I get a motion and a second? I'll move Commissioner Richardson for vice chair. So
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Carter. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Hagel,
Aye.
Maddox,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
and Sullivan.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I've been chair for 3 years. I've enjoyed it, and looking to support Bob and JR as they take on the reins.
And you've made history too.
Excuse me?
You've made history. You've done the first virtual commission meetings in
Well,
the
that-
history
yeah.
of our city. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, now I'll be nervous. All right, our next item of new business is an update on the Rancho California Water District project. Ali, is that you or Patrick?
That'll be me going
Ah.
tonight. Good evening, commissioners. I wanted to give you an update on the RCWD Rancho California Water District Pipeline Replacement Project. It's created quite a little bit of traffic on Temecula Parkway, and there's been some concerns by residents. We want to make sure that the commission is well aware of what is happening at this time. So if I could share my screen very quickly. Everybody can see the exhibit?
Yes.
Okay, so the RCWD pipeline project is divided into 4 phases, 1, 2A, 2B, and then phase 3. Currently, the project is in the phase 2 area right here that I will zoom in on, and that takes the pipeline from La Paz down to Pachanga Parkway. That has impacted traffic due to the following circumstances. The westbound traffic is down to 1 lane, 2 are closed, and the Pachanga Parkway traffic, which has 3 left turns, is down to 1 turn. You can imagine what that has done to the traffic. But some items were done in order to alleviate some of the traffic. The biggest thing is noticing CMS boards, getting the public to try to use alternate routes. That has certainly helped. Currently, the project is about, and I spoke with the construction manager at RCWD right before this meeting to get an update. As of the end of today, they are about 40% complete with 2A. So they have another 60% to go, roughly looking at another 2 weeks, but not expecting anything other than that, barring any weather delays. So that is the status of 2A. Once they move into 2B, that should really free up the Pachanga Parkway left turn movement onto Temecula Parkway, and it should help quite a bit. So we wanted to make sure you were aware of exactly the status of the project currently. The other item we'd like to point out is that there is traffic that is moving throughout the other neighborhoods, which we've had a few resident calls upon that, and we're certainly addressing those. And just wanted to let you guys know that also a good thing that RCWD has done is that proactively what they are doing, for instance, tomorrow is a rain event. They pulled up all of the in-place traffic control. They demobilized the contractor in order for there not to be anything up over the 3 days, and then they'll resume on Monday, which is a huge help to traffic. So that is the current status, and willing to take any questions you might have about its current phase.
Commissioner Carter?
I just had one question. What are the hours of operation?
Currently, they are 6 to 5. We've extended them quite a bit, past our normal time. We're trying to get this project done as quickly as possible in cooperation with RCWD. It is their project, but we're making allowances in order for some extra timeframes for them. So 6 to about 5 o'clock is their timeframe that they should be operating in.
All right, thanks.
If I might add and interrupt, we also did a signal modification at La Paz to help with the traffic. We added a overlapping right arrow at the southbound to westbound turn at the intersection of La Paz and Temecula Parkway for when phase 2B, I guess, the alternate route kicks in. Not 2B. It's
Alternate route 2.
the alternate route. Yeah, when that kicks in, we would be able to flush more traffic out of that way because it's traffic coming also from the hospital. And during the last phase, we also did a flush plan of adding some max times to phase 2 and 6, which is a east-west and direction. So a couple of modifications we did on the city side.
Thank you. Commissioner Hagel, you had your hand up?
Yeah, what was the estimated end date again?
The estimated end date for this particular phase is 2 weeks. And the project overall itself to get through 2B and phase 3, we're looking probably around May.
May, okay, good. So before summer. Yeah.
That is the goal.
Commissioner Maddox, you're muted. There you go.
Oh, thanks. Thank you for the report. I was wondering if you might be able to elaborate a little more on the public outreach aspect of this project. And I know that should really probably be more the job of the water district, but I'm asking because I've seen some questions from neighbors on this. They seem to be pretty well aware of the lane closures, the timing, the detours, that aspect, but maybe not as widely informed about why we're doing this work.
Sure.
I think we have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, if you want to continue, I was just going to start answering.
Sure, sorry, I don't mean to give a speech here.
Oh, no.
I was just gonna say, I think we have a really positive story to tell here too about this major infrastructure project that's not costing the city anything. It's going to be delivering this recycled water to our beautiful parks and our businesses on the corridor, Temecula Valley Hospital for their irrigation. I just want to make sure that that information is getting to our residents somehow.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we started working with RCWD over a year ago on this project. So there was plenty of advanced planning. They did go out to bid one time and it came back too costly to do at night. And there were some other constraints as well. And then we worked together to come up with a better solution that compressed the schedule by almost 2/3. And it also reduced the cost of the project by 2/3 to RCWD. To pointedly answer some of your questions is RCWD does have a web page as well as a hotline. The web page that they have on their site actually tells the story, so to speak, as you're stating. Also on that web page, you can click and sign up to get notified of all of their project updates. And so it gives status of the schedule as well as information about when they expect to be completed, anything that's going on with shutdowns and such. So they're pretty robust. It's pretty robust in the amount of information it gives. In addition to that, they do have their social media site that points to that webpage and to that number. And they're working closely with our city manager's office so that our social media gets updated and we point it also to the RCWD site. So updates are going out if the public wants to stay up on it every day. And it seems like they have updates almost every other day because this project's moving forward quickly. You'll be getting those notices right away. So it's been pretty robust. And we've directed people to RCWD, but we've also taken calls as well on it.
That's excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
The only other thing I'd like to add is, and this is for Lieutenant Decker, we did get a couple of requests if there could be more presence on these alternate routes, just once in a while, to discourage the cut through. I shouldn't say cut through because it is a detour, it is an alternate route, but to discourage the speeding that may go through the Los Ranchitos area and the areas south along Pachanga Parkway.
Not a problem, we'll facilitate that.
Thank you very much. And that'll conclude my report unless there's other questions.
All right, seeing no hands up, we'll go on to the report regarding the Rustic Glen traffic calming concept. I have one question before we start. Lee, are you giving this report?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have one question. There's a figure here. It said Homeowners Association for a 65% approval of the residents.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Well, we usually get a petition from homeowners, and it has to be at least 65% of those residents that approve of any traffic calming measures that we might implement in the street. or else we wouldn't do it.
Okay,
And
so that's not,
Chair Sullivan, that's part of our neighborhood traffic calming program, is that we typically request that there be at least 65% support from the residents before we would move forward with any traffic calming measures.
yeah, that makes sense to me. The way I read it, I thought the homeowners association might have been demanding or something, that number.
No, that's just a component of our neighborhood traffic calming program.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it's a policy.
Okay, and Commissioner Maddox, you may hear some terms that you're not familiar with. Write them down, and at the end of the report, I'll have Ali explain what they are, because trust me, it took me about 6 months with terminology to understand. Ali, go for it.
Yeah. All right, I'll try and share my screen. Let's see here. Okay, I hope you guys can see that.
Yes.
All right. So this is a continuation of Rustic Glen from the last commission meeting. We had a request to consider traffic calming features on Rustic Glen. Rustic Glen is a 44-foot wide residential street that functions as a residential collector, basically. Provides access to numerous enclaves of residential homes on that arterial roadway. A street of this size usually can handle about 1,800 to 2,400 ADT. That's average daily traffic on a street like that. So this is what Rustic Glen looks like. It's a curvilinear layout designed to reduce speeds. This is a modern design rather than a straight stretch of a street where people would speed, and curves are supposed to slow people down. It cuts through from Winchester to Margarita Road, Margarita being on the west. We installed the Armadillo, our radar device, just north of that first cross street that comes in there, facing south or west to Margarita Road. And, our traffic calming policy doesn't recognize road closures, speed bumps or humps, traffic circles as viable traffic calming measures because they slow response times, damage vehicles, and launch vehicles. And so we look at other measures that we could take into consideration that are safe and well accepted by the community and doesn't impact the community as much. So some of the low-hanging fruit, our stage one is education and enforcement. We have a neighborhood traffic awareness program, as we have our brochure. We have our police department put out a radar trailer to slow traffic down. Just give them an idea of what the speeds are that they're going at. That helps. Later on, if it's needed, and these are expensive, we put LED speed limit advisory signs that are called radar feedback signs, telling people, to slow down. And then traditional enforcement of speed limit signs that are already implemented in the subdivision, like 25-mile-per-hour signs. We have them all in the side streets as well as on Rustic Glen. Our stage two features are, pavement markings, striping for bike lanes or narrowing the roadway down. We look at multi-way stop signs to slow traffic, although stop signs are not meant to slow traffic, but sometimes with side distance issues, we can use that as a tool. And then, we can have mid-block median treatments as islands to slow traffic down by narrowing the roadway down. So those are some of the measures that we use in our toolbox. For commission's direction, we did install our radar speed device. It picks up the speed and volume of vehicles coming in. So it does pick up vehicles incoming and outgoing. the results from our data download was that 85th percentile we had as 32 miles per hour for the incoming vehicles and 31 for the outbound. Outbound is going west, inbound was coming and going east. And the total count of the vehicles is 1,016 and 902, which adds up to 1,918, which is well within the range that a roadway of this size can handle, which means that there wasn't any cut-through traffic that was actually going through at this time. And traffic volumes are pretty much coming back to normal, except that the schools are not in session yet. We also reviewed the crash data, and there were only 3 reported collisions that were very close to the Harveston school entry on Margarita. And reading through the details of the report, they were all driver faults, so nothing that was related to the roadway. To give you a bit of a download from what we get from our radar device, this is what it looks like. It's a histogram, tells you the volume of incoming traffic. We got about 1,000. The highest traffic is on a Friday, a little over 1,000 coming inbound. And then the speeds there, this is a bell curve. And as you can see, it's vehicles per miles per hour for all the vehicles. And then you have a count of 7,000 for a whole week's worth of count that we did over there. And majority of the vehicles are within the range of 21 to 30, 34 miles per hour, which is pretty good. We do have outlying numbers, which are a few vehicles that are going over at 41 and almost one at the tail end. You can see it going at 51. So you do get some of those scofflaws that are going through that neighborhood at a high speed. And a lot of times you get people just witnessing that one person going through, even though 98% of the people are going at the speed limit or within a tolerant range of 5 or 7 over the speed limit. And this gives you a little bit of an overview of what the speeds are. They're between 25 and 30, on a full weekday. This is an average. Then you have just somebody who's going over just over 30. So with the data collection that we did, everybody's going between 25 and 30, and there are not a lot of speeders going through that neighborhood. Again, this is the same thing for outbound vehicles. You can see Saturday seems to be the high count there. The bell curve gives you that the majority of the vehicles are going between 20 to 34, and then you have a few on the high speed limit. Again, you have some on the low speed limit too. It kind of balances out. Same thing, gives you a range of the whole week on what the speeds are. They're within the 25 to 30. Our next action is to distribute our neighborhood traffic awareness program brochure to educate all the neighborhood drivers, pedestrians, bikes, residents, whoever is using the roadway, and get an overview of what the existing traffic laws and roadway responsibilities are. And staff will continue to monitor the speeds in this neighborhood, as well as the volumes, to see if once the school opens up, do we still have cut-through traffic, or do we have any cut-through traffic at all? Right now we don't. So that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
If we can go back to the gallery view so I can see if someone's got their hands raised. Right now I see a slide. Can everyone see the gallery, or are you seeing City Hall?
I think he's got to release the.
Yeah, Ellie, you need to stop sharing.
Yeah, stop sharing.
Your screen, my screen sharing is pause, stop share. Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
All right. All right. Are there any questions for Ali? Seeing none, Commissioner Maddox, you're comfortable with all the terminology and everything of that report?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to move? Would you like, or Bob? Yes.
I just had a comment. The armadillo provides incredible amount of really good information that for Commissioner Maddox's purposes, this is, I think, the first time we've used it, or at least the first time we've had data from that particular device. And it is a huge jump in the amount of data we're collecting and the quality of that data. So that's, I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, I mean, if commissioners are interested, I can always email the full report of the data. It has raw data. It's like 68 pages long. Then you get to see exactly what's happening and what time of day somebody is speeding and what car, size of the car even. It'll give you a small, medium, large, or, what vehicle was cutting through the neighborhood. It's amazing the amount of data it picks up.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. So would someone like to move the recommendation?
Brad, can I say a few words? I had a question for Ali. I did go visit this site, and where we took the data seemed to be pretty near the top of the hill. The topology is that it's it's pretty high in the center, and then we have downhill slopes to both Margarita Road, and it's also on the other end downhill slope to Winchester. Especially so we're measuring the speeds in the middle, but I think what I observed was that the cars traveling downhill towards those main roads tend to be going faster in the future. Could we measure at the other locations closer to
measure, when we do another measure, when the schools are back in session, we can try a different location. Yeah. But you want to compare apples to apples,
Yeah, and I agree there may be cut through when the school comes back open, but when I was there, it seemed the vehicles traveling down towards the Harveston side,
right,
going fast, and exiting that first little side street there to make a left to go up the hill was very challenging because of the speed of the vehicles coming down the hill. So I would like to see us, do.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that going downhill was 32 miles per hour average, and coming uphill was 31. So yeah, they are going a little bit faster
further down the hill. Yeah. Okay.
What is the posted speed limit there?
25.
It is 25. Okay, that's what I thought.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Comment, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah. So I took a few trips out to Rustic, Glen over the course of the week as well. Counted some cars there. Noticed not a lot of cars parked on the street, maybe 15 or 16 consistently. But quite a range parked in driveways. I counted between 77 to 103 as the high number. So one thing, if this does come back for another round of mitigation, and we do consider pavement marking options, then I think it might be worthwhile to explore the option of 8-foot painted parking lanes on either side to narrow that road down and hopefully reduce those speeds.
Absolutely, yeah, that would be the least cost and most effective way of slowing people down there.
Yeah, it's definitely a clean slate now with no markings, and it does appear very wide, and it's recently repaved, I think. So it's white and black, and it says go.
What they call a sea of pavement,
Yes.
But otherwise, I like the general trajectory of the staff recommendation here. I agree with, rolling out educational measures first and then measuring the results of those. And if there were no other comments, then I'd like to move the motion.
I was going to ask if you did. So I would assume the motion is to continue the education and to continue monitoring speed and volume. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Yep. All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Hagel,
Aye.
Maddox,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
and Sullivan.
Aye. All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. All right. Next, we have the report on the Goldenrod traffic calming And this is a receive and file. Ali, are you giving that?
Yes, I am. So let me see if I can share my screen again. And are you able to see that yet?
Not yet.
Okay, let's try this. Hang on. It's on. Let's see. Share. That's strange. Hang on a second.
Have any kids at home?
Yeah, I've got two.
They'd probably show us.
Need technical assistance from those kids.
You're an
Yeah.
engineer though, right?
Yeah, hang on a second. I probably need to turn off
I'll leave.
one of these.
If you need assistance, I'm in the office, so if you need assistance, I have the PowerPoint ready to go.
Okay, hang on.
Okay.
There we go. Let's try again. I don't know why it does that for me. The first one goes fine, and then Ron, are you able to get it on?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, go for it.
I'll then start sharing.
Ron to the rescue.
All
Everybody
right.
see?
And
Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. You want to go through it, Ali, and I'll just run the slideshow for you?
yeah, if you can, please. All right. So goldenrod, it's just north of General Kearney Road, and you can see the city-county boundary. That's the section of the roadway that is in the city of Temecula. North of it, the Mirasu and the cross cul-de-sacs up there is all in the county. Next slide. So it's a residential collector. That's a view of it looking uphill, 40 feet wide, 44 feet wide in the county. So it's a little wider in the county. Has an ADT of 2,500. And the ADT on General Kearney Road is 2,300. And this section of the roadway is posted at 25 miles per hour. Next slide. So previously, there was a workshop back in 2019, and it was my predecessor, Jerry, had that meeting with the residents there and some of the county people. Very few Temecula residents showed up, just 6, and then 14 residents in the county. Our police department was there, and they voiced their concerns about speeding and limited intersection visibility. So what we did currently in December, we had a meeting with the county traffic engineer, Dennis Acuna, and we discussed the always stop at Mirasu up, just approaching down south to our section of the roadway. And after discussion, we decided to run the request as our councilman or our plan commissioner wanted to see if we could come up with some other suggestions on slowing traffic down. We were able to get about 82% of these residents to sign off, which was about 11 out of the 11, 9 signed off on it. Those are the addresses on Goldenrod. And so we were able to implement, let's go to the next slide, some of the previous concepts that we modified from the county's section coming into ours. We had looked at narrowing the road down with painted medians, bike lanes. Second concept was, Ron, you could go to the next slide. And the second concept was a parking lane. And what we came up with, the latest concept was to have an always stop at, Ron, you can go to the next slide, always stop at Goldenrod and stop ahead signs approaching it, with the bike lanes that were already done, buffered bike lanes in the county portion, which stopped at the city-county boundary. And then we decided to put in sharrows and bicycle may use full lane signage and a 8-foot parking lane in our section of the roadway. Next slide. So the traffic calming measures that we implemented at this time were always stops on Mirasu and Franciscan circles up on the north top of the hill, and then watch downhill speed sign with a 25 posted limit in the county portion. And in the city portion, we had the VCOM signs that were already installed from the last round of discussions with the residents. And then this time around, we put in the bicycle may use full lane with sharrows and 8-foot parking lanes. So recommendation now is, it's all done basically. So currently installed signage and striping is there, and parking lanes installed to narrow the roadway width. We hope that this slows the traffic down. We'll take another count on the radar speed signs that we have up there that collect data to see if it helps to slow traffic down coming down the hill. And that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
And Chairman Solomon, if I could add a little bit of history on this as well. So as Ali mentioned, this request for traffic calming came to the commission in 2019. And as he mentioned, a group of residents, of city residents on Goldenrod, as well as some county residents, came to discuss. And at that time, there was a plan to implement this always stop in the county portion, as well as potentially some of the striping in the city portion. Well, after that discussion and with the commission, the county essentially withdrew their agreement to implement that always stop, which was somewhat discouraging to us because we thought that was a critical part of the traffic calming measures for that road. Subsequent to that, the measures that the city implemented were the VCOM signs to attempt to address the speeding issues. Well, the issue came back. The Goldenrod residents brought that back to us here late last year, saying that there was still the speeding problem on the road and requesting that we reconsider it, which we did. We did approach the county, and at that time, the county did agree to implement that always stop, which we were very happy to hear. That all happened basically in the month of December last year. So after your December meeting, kind of that plan to implement the always stop as well as the additional striping all came together, and the county offered to implement that quickly. So they did, and the city implemented the striping portion in the city part of the roadway. And like I said, essentially that all kind of came together in the last 30 days. So this is really just a follow-up report to the commission that we essentially implemented what your recommendations were in 2019.
A happy ending.
Yes.
Any,
Hopefully.
yes, Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, I just want to say, if you go out here and look at this is a shining example of us hearing the complaint and doing a good job. And I just got to say, at first glance, it looks like we've, put every possible sign and road marking we can out there. But the bottom line is, when you're coming down the hill and you stop at that stop sign, you're looking at a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And the moment you start going, you see your sign on the radar. So anybody who goes faster than 25 downhill to the sign is making a willful decision in that moment to break the law. And there's no question about it. I just couldn't be more impressed with the end result here. So congratulations to you guys on sticking with it. And it was harder because you worked with the county. So if we had a situation like this completely within our control, just goes to show that we really can do what it takes to achieve a result. So good job, Ali and Patrick.
Thank you.
Any other comments on this item? Seeing none. All right, we'll move on to division reports, and we'll have California Highway Patrol report, Captain Penner, and I'm pleased to report my windshield is still intact.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And on a separate note out of my report, I know our commercial guys on the Rainbow scales, they're out with some task force stuff. And so hopefully you'll see them around the 15 regardless anyway. So we'll keep that windshield clean for you.
Thank you.
So, okay. So this is our what's been happening in the Temecula area over the last 2 months for November and December. So our motorist services were at 860. And that's basically anytime we stop to help anyone on the side of the freeway or on the side of the road. Our child safety installation seats or child safety seat installations are at 18. Once coronavirus does, we're able to get more of a handle on it, those numbers will go up. Again, we're doing them. We're just not really advertising that we're doing them. And then our Start Smart virtual classes. I know I said it before, to start soon. The issue we're having with that is something that I had, is that our computer equipment doesn't have web cameras. So we can't do it virtually. And then when you try and go through the state process to try and buy a camera, all the cameras were gone because of all the kids in school. So trying to get them, they're back ordered. So we have one camera for the office that we're kind of sharing around now. So we will hopefully have that going again soon with my PIO officer, Mike Lastig. Enforcement activity, just about 1,300 citations issued over the 2 months. Enforcement contacts, which also includes our verbal warnings, and then for cars that are stopped on the side of the road, putting the tags on them for cars parked over 72 hours, a total of 2,352. And I talked a little bit before about the Focus High Crash Reduction Grant that we have, and we're using that to target specific traffic complaints that we have. And the beautiful thing about the grant is that it's anywhere in the county. A lot of times these grants are specific to a certain freeway or a certain road or certain time. This is wide open whenever we can use it. So we've been using it a lot on Ortega and SR 371 and SR 79 because of the high, not so the high amount of crashes we've had there, but our high amount of fatal accidents and serious accidents that we've had out there. And then with the snow well, we didn't have snow, thankfully, but my concern was with the precipitation and then the cold weather. I know from commuting Ortega in the past, we've had snow up there and it's a complete disaster. So we had used that grant to have people up there just in case that we did have traffic problems in the snow. For our DUI arrests, we had a total of 64 DUI arrests during that time, and 6 were specific to drug DUI arrests. One of the trends that I am noticing is what I thought for the area for our fatal traffic collisions. We're waiting on the coroner's report and doing a more looking into the drug aspect for people that were killed in traffic collisions. And the drug use in traffic collisions, especially with our fatal collisions, is definitely high, unfortunately. So for our traffic collisions, 159 non-injury crashes, 101 injury. We did have 5 fatal accidents. And one of the trends I've noticed in Temecula, and it was in El Cajon, my previous command, was it seems like October, November, December, in both areas were a rise in fatal accidents. So that's something that's definitely going to get more attention next year as we go through the year. So we did have 35 fatal traffic incidents that we investigated in the Temecula CHP area in 2020, which was the exact number we had in 2019. Obviously, we would like to have a reduction in that. So again, especially using that grant and things I've learned through my couple months, almost a year that I've been here in Temecula now. We're going to tackle that better in 2021. And total traffic collisions that we had for November and December was 271. That's injury and non-injury collisions. For our fatal traffic collisions, we had one on Ortega west of Grand. It was a solo vehicle, and he was under the influence of drugs. We had one on SR 79 at Dugan, and that's been a place where we've had several over the last year. So that's one of the places where we're sending some of our grant money. And that was a double fatality. SR 74 at Sophie, we had a head-on collision there. Northbound I-15 north of Rainbow, a solo vehicle collision. And then southbound 215 north of Los Alamos, we had a collision, and our investigation determined that it was a street racing. And we've identified the person that was racing, the person that lost control and crashed and subsequently lost their life. And so that investigation is ongoing into the other driver. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I just had one question. Yeah, if you had any issues related to Temecula Parkway, the work that Rancho California is doing on there?
My own personal, because I live off there.
No.
So no, because where it backs up is still within the city on Temecula Parkway, on a Pechanga Parkway. Pechanga Parkway, the highway patrol doesn't take over until just south, like basically the parking garage at Pechanga at the casino.
Okay.
Around that area is where we take over. So it's mostly been within the city.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, seeing no other questions, thank you, Captain Penner.
Thank you.
And now we'll go on to the Fire Chief Cassidy's report. He was shaking his head to a lot of those accidents. You're muted. There you go.
Yep, I got it now. You everybody hear me now?
Yep.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. To go over for the fire department here for the last couple of months, we're averaging around 58 traffic collisions here in the city and just outside over the last, for the month of November and December. For the total amount of calls, we're looking at 699. As we look into the month of December, we ended up around 56 traffic collisions. So we're averaging around 50. So for the total amount of calls, the fire department ran 834 for the month of December. And then as far as our plan checks and our construction inspections, even with COVID, we've been acting and going out and doing those inspections. We're right now, year to date, we're right around 3,700. So we're still out there, and our fire inspectors are still taking care of that part of it. So just a little side note as well, for the Sparkle of Toy Drive, we did that once again. The residents and everybody else, we ended up receiving 287 applications, and we filled over 780 toy requests. And through the community, city of Temecula, outside in the county area, we ended up collecting close to 6,300 toys, which is went all really to some really good people and kids that needed those. As far as the Temecula Parkway and the construction that's currently going on, our engine crews are all well aware of to stay away from there as far as access and emergency incidences. So we are definitely aware of that. Currently it does not impact the ambulances going to the hospital or anything. So once they start cleaning it up a little bit more, we'll adjust our traffic plan. But right now it's not affecting the fire department and any of our responses that we have going on. So this last couple of the months at the end of the year, we did have some Opticom issues that we worked with Pat and the Public Works. We got those all fixed and taken care of on Temecula Parkway down around Red Hawk. So right now, when the fire engines come around that corner there, it turns the light green for them, and we're improving on our response times. So, besides that, fire department, the only thing we're going to really stress to the community right now, we're getting ready for a big rain event tonight, is make sure you don't drive through any of those standing water puddles. We'll be on heightened alert again tonight. Also in this meeting tonight, if you notice, Dan Olson is here. He's one of the new battalion chiefs that came to Temecula. He transferred from the mountaintop up there by Idlewild and all. He is a year resident and been in here in Temecula for years, so he is a local boy as well. So if we can just say hi to him, and you will see him on the meetings. We are a rotating shift still, so we will be rotating back and forth between us, but you want to come on tonight and introduce. And Dan, I don't know if you want to say anything or introduce yourself more.
Yeah, please do.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. It's It's a pleasure. As Brad said, I've lived in this community for most of my life, grew up to elementary school and high school here. So when the opportunity presented itself to work in the community I live in, I was glad to be able to take part of that. So I look forward to seeing each and every one of you on a regular basis. As Brad said, we'll kind of trade off the duties as far as which face you see here. But again, thanks for the time and the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Well, welcome back to Temecula.
Thank you, sir.
Well, they'd be in the report unless somebody has any questions.
Brad,
Yes, Bob.
how many or what percentage of your med calls are COVID that you're aware of?
I don't know if we have accurate numbers with that. I don't have them with me right now. On my next report that we do, and with the next meeting, I'll have those numbers generated through our person, so we'll have those. I don't know. I know that currently we're seeing a high rate of them. I don't know the percentage, to be honest with you, but it is high.
It is high. Okay, that's all I was trying to find out. My son-in-law is a firefighter in Huntington Beach, and he's finding that about 3/4 of the med calls he's going on now is COVID, and it's just a sad situation. So.
No, and it is, and like I said, we're taking all of our precautions that we can do. We did have a small fire at the Temecula Valley Hospital on Tuesday night. We ended up going onto the ICU floor where all those patients were positive, but our firefighters had to do their job, and we did it safely.
Good, thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions, we'll go on to Lieutenant Decker for the police report.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good to be back. Sergeant Greco is actually going to give the report, but I just wanted to pop on because I missed you guys.
Okay. Just so you know, the last couple meetings I've elevated him to lieutenant. So.
Well, he just did very well on the test, so I might be out of a job.
Yeah, well.
Evening. For the month of December, we had a total citations issued 1,299. 911 of those were hazardous citations. 539 warnings were issued. We had 24 DUI arrests for the month of December, which ended the year with 283. Let's see, and we did one checkpoint, which resulted in 2 DUI arrests and 2 misdemeanor warrant arrests. 9 citations were issued for driving on a suspended or revoked driver's license, and there were 2 tows out of that. And that was done on the 4th of December on Yanez and DLR. We had no fatal accidents for the month of December, which was good for us. But we did have 27 injury collisions. All in all, it's down. The numbers are down because of COVID, but the guys are out there still working pretty hard. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions for the future lieutenant or the current lieutenant? We might as well move you up, Greco, even before the sheriff gets to it. All right. And by the way, tell him Temecula wishes him well in his recovery.
Absolutely.
All right. Hearing no questions, Patrick, your report, please.
Okay. Well, Chair Sullivan, I hope I'm not going to steal your thunder on this, but I wanted to explain that the city council is making a little bit of a change in how the commissions report to the council on their activities. And what they're doing is rather than having each commission report at each city council meeting, they're having the commissions only report at one of the 2 city council meetings each month. So the report from the Public Traffic Safety Commission will be at the 2nd city council meeting, or the 4th Tuesday of the month. So that's when the commission's report will be given. And they've also moved the commission reports up to the first part of the city council agenda. So I guess, two good things associated with that. One is it's the first part of the meeting, so
Nope, you froze up.
early, and the meeting at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, Patrick, you
So, so that,
I was going to say you froze up right after the advantages of the beginning of the meeting.
oh, okay. So, so what I said was it's got two advantages. One is it's at the first part of the meeting, so you get it over with early. And two, there's more people paying attention at the first part of the meeting than at the end. So you actually get your message out there better. So, so that'll be how the commission reports are given. And they also asked that we, if we have any, if the commission is taking actions on things and there's potentially some graphics that can be shared with the council, make that part of your report. So we'll, Bob, we'll work with you as the chairman to prepare PowerPoint slides or however we want to do that as far as the reports to the council.
Okay, thank you.
And then secondly, the joint commission city council meeting for this commission is March 23rd. So that'll be the date that that there'll be and essentially the report that for the council will be what basically the commission did over the last year and kind of what the plans are for the coming year. And at your discretion, Chair Hagel, you'll give that report and we can work with you on that. We were thinking that, we could potentially present a draft of the report to the commission at your February meeting. And then and then essentially that March 23rd will serve as your March meeting for the commission.
Okay, good.
So that's what we're looking at for the next few meetings. We do have a meeting scheduled for February at this time for your next meeting. I also wanted to just let you know the city council did reassign or do their committee assignments. The liaison for the Traffic Safety Commission is Mayor Edwards. So if there's any questions or issues with city council, she'll be your liaison. And then one of the other major involvement that we have with one of our regional partners, Riverside County Transportation Commission, Councilmember Ron was appointed as the city's representative to the RCTC. So he'll be our point person on that. And lastly, I wanted to just bring something to your attention that was brought to our attention last month, and that is the County of San Diego received a request from a residence on Sandia Creek Road, and that's kind of the road that connects the Duluth area, Rancho California down to Fallbrook, one of the roads that connects down there. And part of that road in San Diego County is actually private, although it's open such that the public can use it, although it's privately owned and maintained. Well, the property owners have applied to the County of San Diego to put a gate in on that private portion of Sandia Creek Road. So the County of San Diego is processing that application. And again, that's out of our jurisdiction, so we really don't have any involvement in approval or denial of that. But it is going through the County of San Diego approval process. They had a public meeting earlier this month and got public input, and I believe they're still evaluating that request and how that gate would be installed, and who would have access to it, and kind of some of the specifics of that. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention, something that may be happening here in the future. So that concludes my report.
Any questions? All right. Well, that concluded my report too. And Commissioner Maddox, let's get a little background on you. I have a feeling you have a traffic background by some of your earlier comments.
Sure. So Well, like Dan, who we met just a moment ago, I've lived in Temecula for most of my life, or for almost as long as Temecula has been a city, back when we still had a lot of dirt roads around. Now I'm raising my own family here. I'm a father of triplets. They're going to be turning 4 next month. And they love walking to the parks. And we're working on getting them to ride their bikes more. My wife right now is getting them ready for bed, I'm sure, so that I can be here with you. And I'm just really grateful to her for that. And I'm also very grateful to have been invited to give my input here on this commission. It really is humbling, but I'm eager to dive in and ready to do some good work with you all this year. I had one other item I'd like to report on, if you don't mind bearing with me here. Since our last meeting in December, the mini pump track had its official opening at the Ronald Reagan Sports Park. And I just wanted to take a minute to commend everyone who was involved in getting that project ready. It was a fast turnaround. For anyone watching at home who might not know, this is a bicycle course with rolling hills and banked turns. And we have a couple of them aimed at different age groups. And one of the great things about these parks and the way it relates to our commission is that they encourage active transportation. My own kids are too little to ride their bikes there from home, but I know some of the older kids do, and that's wonderful to see. And when you visit these parks, you'll also see kids of all ages, building their confidence as riders, being attentive, training their hazard perception, looking out for each other, and just generally practicing awareness. And all of these skills are things that will make them safer as they grow older and venture out and discover more of our built environment. So I just really wanted to highlight that project. Those parks are an absolute treasure. And while I would urge everyone in this time of the pandemic to exercise good judgment before they go out anywhere, I also want to encourage everyone to go visit these parks just as soon as you can safely do so. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any other commission reports? Commissioner Hagel and then Commissioner Richardson.
I just want to welcome Commissioner Maddox and just also offer you, I have a workbook from a commissioner's workshop that I took, I don't know, some years ago with JR at his, where he got his engineering degree. And I would love to offer it to you. It's very thick, very full of information, and really helps you a lot with the terminology as well, which I think is pretty important to understand what everybody's talking about. So,
yeah, I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, I'll get it to you. Yeah.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, also welcome to Dave Maddox. Good to have you aboard. And I had a few other items to go over. I had, I guess, an informal action item from our last meeting to send multi-lane traffic circle information on the Sedona and Palmdale traffic circle examples out to the commission. And so I did that. Hopefully it got forwarded to Ollie. I found I didn't have his email, but I think it was very interesting. I look forward to seeing that on the agenda, hopefully at some point. So I just wanted to make sure everybody got that. I see the heads nodding yes. Another item for Lieutenant Decker and crew. Now that our Butterfield stage widening project is done, as you know, I live in close proximity to this intersection. It appears that late nights and early mornings, it's being used as a raceway now by some folks. I don't know if it's the light turns green. It appears to be mostly northbound on Butterfield. And I don't know if that side of the road is in the county as opposed to the city. But if you ever find yourself with nothing to do in those late night, early morning hours, would be a good place to hang out. I think you'll catch some street racers out there. And as we heard, those can lead to tragic outcomes. So just wanted you to be aware of that. The final thing this morning, I think about 10:30, I was on Rancho Cal, and I noticed that on Rancho Cal westbound between Inez and the freeway, we had 2 of the 4 traffic lanes closed. It looked like an unplanned closure, but I was going to ask Patrick or Ali if they knew what that activity was.
Can you say it again, JR? That was on Rancho Cal westbound?
Rancho Cal westbound approaching the freeway from Inez. So it was Inez to the 15 on-ramp going northbound. The 2 right lanes were closed with signage, and only the 2 left lanes were available at that location. Looked like they were digging up pavement to me.
Pat, I can speak on that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was there. It looked like they were putting in a post. Ron?
What it was we issued an encroachment permit to Edison. Edison had some lines that popped over on Diaz Road. They needed to get into the vaults that were located at Jefferson Rancho Cal, as well as the location that you're mentioning, because there's a line that had to be pulled all the way through. So that was emergency work that they needed to accomplish. It was probably not at the best time because it, created quite a bit of traffic, and that's one of our busiest areas, obviously. But that was an Edison emergency repair.
Very good. Thank you for the information. That's all I had, Chairman Sullivan.
All right. Commissioner Carter, do you have anything tonight?
Yeah, it's kind of a question. It's kind of a question for Patrick and Jason. The Stephen Lennon Park on the corner of Nighthawk and Vale Ranch Parkway that's being renovated and everything. Is there going to be a rededication or something when it opens back up? Stephen Lennon was a CHP officer that was killed in the early 2000s on Interstate 5, and that park was dedicated to him early, I forget, 2005, somewhere around there. So I was just curious because it's looking good. I live right down the street, and my daughter had walked by and took pictures of it and brought them home, and I was very impressed with the way that they're doing it. And it's just ripe for a nice memorial reopening.
Yeah, we with these playground renovations that we've been doing the past, I guess before last year, we were having ribbon cutting events and having classrooms of kids participate in those. The ones that we've done this past year, unfortunately, with the closures and everything, we haven't been having in-person dedications. The last one, matter of fact, it was just this week that we opened, was the Sam Hicks monument. We put the new playground in there at Sam Hicks Park. So that's there and open now. I'll bring that up to our community services department about potentially some kind of a dedication for Stephen Lennon on that facility.
And if you could keep me in the loop on that, and I'll be involved and be there to represent CHP. I remember I lived in Oceanside at the time, and I remember when Officer Lennon was killed. So I would absolutely be honored to be involved.
Okay.
All right. So seeing no other hands up, again, thank you for the opportunity. It's been a privilege to serve as your chair. Congratulations to Commissioner Maddox and to our new chair, Commissioner Hagel, and our new vice chair, Commissioner Richardson. And Commissioner Hagel, get better soon.
Yeah, this just came on literally in the last half hour before the meeting started. So by the next meeting, I promise I'll be solid. And thank you for your service and 3 long years with some pretty long meetings at City Council as well. So you've done a great job, and we really appreciate it.
Hear, hear.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
Brett.
with that, thank you. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.